I've not seen something this disrespectful in a while, bro. He waits, first of all, he cries out like he knows he's already won, waits for Bell to land, runs, boom, clips him. Alright, today we're gonna be going over one of my favorite fights, well, series of fights in an underrated anime. Well, I mean, to be honest, the anime is kind of mid, but this series of fights was peak. I don't hear people talking about this fight enough. And it's Bell versus, I think he has an actual name, but I'm just gonna call him Minotaur. Bell versus the Minotaur is peak, bro. I love that fight so much. Now, for you, those of you who haven't actually seen that fight or know what anime it's from this anime called Damachi, or it's got some other long name like Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon or something. Such a random name. Anyways, a little context. The main character, he's called Bell. He's white haired. He's like a rookie adventurer. Like he's literally like level 0. He's got no skills. He's got no drip. He's terrible, right? One day he decides to go into the dungeon, which is like this big tower in the middle of the city. And that's where all the adventurers go to get money and to slay monsters, you know, get that drip, whatever, become famous, whatever, adventure, all that stuff. He goes there one day. On the first floor, he goes there. He gets his ass handed to him by this Minotaur that's not even meant to be there. He almost dies. Then this blonde-haired lady comes, saves him. It's embarrassing for him. There's blood all over his face. No, all over his whole body actually. He's just drenched in blood. He looks like a tomato. He runs, cries. Then he goes into the tavern that same night, and then he hears the people who saved him, along with the blonde-haired lady, talking smack about him, calling him like tomato head, this, that, the other. He attracts minotaurs, this, that, the other. The whole tavern is howling at him, and they don't even realize he's there until he runs out crying. Right, he goes home. He's absolutely distraught. He goes back to like his guild. I guess she's technically a guild master. I don't know. His goddess, and just sulks. Then we fast forward like 8 episodes to the main fight. At this point, Bell, you know, he's no longer like a loser. He's just a rookie. He's an upcoming rookie. No one knows his name yet, but he's about to make waves. And at this point, Bell, he's gotten some training from that blonde-haired lady that saved him before, because she sees something in him. I don't know. He gets some training, so you know he's got skills now. He's got moves. You know, he gets better gear. He gets a better like dagger. You know, he's an adventurer now. He's looking more like an actual adventurer, not like a bum like he was before. He had like one chest like breastplate on for some reason. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And then he's also got this little imp following him around, helping him collect the stones and whatever else. So you know, they go to like, I think it's like the 9th floor. That's when trouble ensues. We hear rumbling from the ground. Both Short Stuff and Bell look up, and then they see this Minotaur coming towards them. And they're only on floor 9, big man. They're on floor 9. There should be no Minotaurs here again. But somehow they've found Bell again. Now Bell's just standing there. He's dazed. He's phased. He's like, there's no way this is going on again. And then the Minotaur's about to chop his head off. And then Short Stuff comes and saves him. Gets him out of the way. At this point, Bell's still dazed. He's like, big man, there's no way. Big man, there's no way. Big man, there's no way. He can't believe it. After he collects himself, he realizes the situation. He's like, alright, I'm gonna stall until someone else comes who can actually handle this thing, because I have PTSD from this. Like, I can't do this again. So he throws Short Stuff and then gets ready to square up, and then he's just weaving, dodging. You know, remember, he's got moves now, but you have to keep in mind this Minotaur is strong as hell. So eventually he actually gets clipped. He gets clipped and all his armor gets obliterated. From one hit, his whole armor set is gone. He's back on his black garms again. That's all he's got, and a sword. Eventually, Short Stuff comes to. Bell is like, yo, dip, like leave. She's like, no. He's like, leave. They're going back and forth. Eventually she leaves, and then it's just Bell and the Minotaur. And then meanwhile, blonde-haired lady and her party. Remember, this blonde-haired lady, she's like a celebrity. So their big ass party, they're traveling through the floors. They're trying to get all the way to like the 50th floor. No one else has gone that far, so they're trying to like make headway, you know, they're trying to make big boy moves. They see these guys who've gotten beaten up by this Minotaur, and then those guys tell them that, yeah, we saw one other guy with white hair run into this Minotaur, he's probably dead. Blonde haired lady runs off, she runs back, and then eventually she sees Belle squaring up to the Minotaur. Belle's still squaring up with this Minotaur, but eventually he gets clipped. The Minotaur like strikes him with his horn, launches him in the air and throws him. It's looking like he's about to, you know, get killed. Belle's done. But then suddenly, blonde haired lady shows up and she's like, it's alright, I'll save you again. He's like, wow, I'm actually a loser. Like I thought I was, you know, I thought I was getting that. I thought I was like, you know, getting good gear, getting more skills, but nah, this girl is still saving me. Like, it's embarrassing. And then eventually the rest of the party show up, of the blonde haired lady, her party shows up, and then Belle has a decision to make. He's like, do I let her save me, or do I, you know, stand up for the moment? Eventually he gets out of his own head and pulls blonde lady to the side. He's like, nah, I got this one. Like, I need this. So eventually the Minotaur and Belle are squaring up, right? As Belle's squaring up with the Minotaur, the blonde haired lady's party, they're there, they're talking, they're conversing, they're like, are we just gonna let this guy die? Like, who's actually gonna run in and save him? The main guy who's been bullying Belle, you know, calling him names, whatever else, steps up and he's like, alright, I'll go save him. Because even though, you know, I'm a jerk to this guy, I don't want to look like the guy who just likes bullying weaklings. So he goes in, but then he stops because he realizes that Belle's actually holding his own. Like, he's not dead yet. You know, he's weaving, he's moving, he's dodging. You know, he's looking nice with it. Everyone's kind of like, raw. Wait, he's way better than he should be. Like, are we sure this guy's level 1? He doesn't have level 1 moves anymore. Like, this guy's looking like a different person. So eventually they just all shut up and they start watching him work. First thing Belle does is boom, he clips the Minotaur's arm and then twists his dagger and like disables his arm. So now the Minotaur's arm is messed up, it's broken. Because since that was the hand the Minotaur had his big longsword in, Belle grabs the longsword and starts charging the Minotaur and just starts slicing and dicing him down. You know, since the Minotaur's skin is thick, he's not doing like insane damage, but it's more damage than he was doing with his other weapons, and that's important for what comes next. It's also ironic because at this point Belle is covered in blood, but it's because he's messing the Minotaur up, not because he's wimping, which I found pretty cool. Like, you know, it's a little, there must be some sort of English word for that. Anyway, at this point they're both just there, they're about to square off again. Belle's staring the Minotaur down. The Minotaur is enraged. Belle and the Minotaur both charge each other, and then everyone else who's watching is like, oh, Belle's made a mistake, like he's gonna die, because the Minotaur is about to, like, you know, use his horn to clip him. And that's exactly what happens. They charge. As they get close, the Minotaur goes like this and then tries to clip Belle with his own horn, but Belle was expecting that. He knew what was coming, so he weaves it, goes under the Minotaur, and then stabs him right in like his gut. Makes a nice deep cut. And then at this point, Belle uses his magic that he's been spamming this fire move the whole time. He uses it point blank in the Minotaur's cut, and then he's like, fire, bro! Fire, bro! And he's lighting the Minotaur up from the inside out, and it's gruesome, bro. But everyone's shocked. They're like, rah, what? And then, you know, a couple more firebolts later, and then Belle is actually able to kill this Minotaur. And the coldest thing is that he passes out standing up. It was hard. It was such a cool shot. At this point, since he's unconscious, everyone else, they're like, damn, who is this guy? And they check his stats, because, you know, he basically had no clothes on at this point. And then they see his stats. They're all ranked S. They're like, yo, this guy is not level 1. They're like, what is this guy's name? Because apart from the blonde haired lady, they didn't even know who this guy was. They just made fun of him. They knew him as Tomato Head. They're like, who is this guy? Blonde haired lady drops the name. His name's Belle Crenell. and then the episode finishes. It was an amazing fight. I love that scrap. But what really made it cool was the backstory behind it. You don't think that when you meet this guy in the first episode that he's gonna run into a Minotaur again, only 7 episodes later, and beat him. Even though the Minotaur was like, he was hurt, and there was some other like plot relevant stuff that happened as to why they fought. But I'm like, no, let's not take this win away from him. Like, he got his lick back, and he did it in front of his blonde head crush. So that's a win, bro. If I'm Belle, I'm gassed. Like, that's a win. And before we get to the next little portion of this little 2-part Belle versus the Minotaur scrap, you need a little bit more context again. So recently, in this little land, news has come out that like a couple of these monsters that they kill in the dungeons, because all the monsters stay in the dungeons, a couple of these monsters can actually like talk, and they've got like some personality and some human beings. They're not just like mindless rampaging monsters. With that news coming out, everyone's like, yo, what's going on? Some people are like, yo, it doesn't matter, they're monsters, let's kill them, we're adventurers, that's how we've always been. And then some other men are like, nah, like, come on, man, they've got some feelings, they've got, all this stuff. Most of the adventurers are like, nah, we gotta kill them, like, this is, they're monsters, whatever. And at this point, our main character Belle, he's leveled up significantly. I think he's like level 4 or 3 at this point, and he's kind of a celebrity because he's climbed through the ranks fast. Most people are like level 2 or 3, and then the top brass of adventurers are only still like level 7 or 6, and it takes like years just to get to like level 2. Belle, he's become like level 3 or level 2 in like a couple of months. It's unheard of. So he's famous at this point. Everyone knows his name. He's like the rookie adventurer. But Belle, he's like, I can't remember if he saves a monster or if he like sympathizes with them publicly, but basically he's hated now because they see him as a monster sympathizer, when he used to be like an idol to all adventurers, and all adventurers hate monsters. And that's all the backstory. There's like a little outbreak of monsters going on. It's organized by this like one god with like a brown hat. He's like a Belle stand. He wants Belle to return back to his roots. Since he became famous, he's been known for killing monsters. He's like, we gotta get this man killing monsters again, because no one wants a hero who associates with monsters. That doesn't make sense. So there's a riot going on. Belle's in the middle of it. This little god's plan, I think his name's Hermes or something, it fails, and then just as it does, you hear this like cry out. Everyone looks up. They see this giant Minotaur. I think he's got like black fur now. He's giant. He's giant. He's only got one arm. I see this guy and I'm like, damn, I know what's about to happen next. And as soon as he lands, he runs after Belle. And then boom, clips him, bulldozes him through like 10 buildings. It's crazy. I'm like, rah. So as Belle comes to, this Minotaur tells him, because he's one of these monsters that can speak, he tells him that like, yo, I've had a dream for the longest time, and that's to do battle with you again. It turns out that this Minotaur is the same Minotaur who embarrassed him in front of his blonde head crush the first time, and he's the same Minotaur who ran the gauntlet with Belle again and lost and got killed, and now he's here again. You see, one thing I forgot to mention is that the reason these monsters, well, at least some of them can talk, because every time a monster gets killed by an adventurer, they get respawned back into the dungeon. It's gone to the point where these monsters that have been respawning again and again and again have suddenly gained consciousness. So now some of them can talk, some of them can communicate, all this. They're not all mindless anymore. It's a bit cool. I like it. So this Minotaur starts talking and he says that his name's Asterius or something like that. He asks for Belle's name. Belle tells him his name, and then he's like, alright, now fight me, bro. Let's run this back. Somehow he's saying all of this with his mouth closed. I don't know how the Minotaur is talking with his mouth closed, but hey ho. So they start scrapping, and the Minotaur charges after Belle, and they're going back and forth for a couple seconds, but then boom, the Minotaur kicks Bell, bro, like across the sky into a couple flying buildings and right back to where the main crowd was, where everyone was, monsters and adventurers. Everyone sees Bell get thrashed. They're like, what the fuck's going on, bro? Like, what? So now they start going back and forth in the middle of the square. You know, the Minotaur's charging, swinging his axe. Bell's countering, dodging, weaving. It's sick, bro. Bell starts launching a couple fireball spells. And then eventually, the crowd, you know, everyone around, these are the same people who hated Bell because they thought he was a monster sympathizer or whatever. They start silently, like, cheering for him, like, oh, it's Bell, Bell, Bell. But then this one dude comes and he pipes up and then he gets the crowd going. And now everyone's cheering for him, bro. And then suddenly, as they're scrapping, this sword comes flying out of the air. And it was tossed by this, like, one really OP adventurer. He's, like, level 7. He's like the main guy. He's from the Familiar who keeps like orchestrating these little fights between Bell and the Minotaur. They orchestrated the first one and this one once they realized that Bell was special and he has some special skill that allows him to like level up a bunch. Yeah, that's why these fights keep happening. So a sword magically appears from nowhere. Bell skirts over, picks it up, and they're about to do battle again. They start going at it, bro. They're clashing, swinging, true anime fashion. And then eventually the Minotaur charges after Bell again. This is like the third time, I don't even know. Charges after him, and then boom, he slides Bell all the way into like the dungeon entrances, and they're clashing there. And eventually Bell gets disarmed for a couple seconds. His sword gets flung into the air, and then Bell does the most puniest little like kick I've ever seen. He kicks him, and the Minotaur just looks at Bell for a sec, but then as soon as he does, Bell like puts his hands out and then blasts him again, and that like creates some distance between them. And then Bell hops, catches his sword, and then starts squaring up again. It was sick, bro. It was sick. And then Bell gets a couple more nicks in and swings, and then the Minotaur like brushes them back. And now there's more distance between them. There's like a little shot. You can see them both just staring at each other. You get a little shot of the sun rising, and then it zooms in to Bell's hand gripping the sword, and then you see this little glow, and you hear these bells ringing, bro. That is the same. His name is Bell, and his little special move ability has little bells playing in the background as he's charging up. That is the sickest thing I've ever heard. Come on, man. Bell starts like doing this internal monologue of I want to get stronger so that, you know, I don't lose anything else from me. And then at this point, everyone and their mama is watching this fight, right? Bell keeps charging up, and he puts all the like, I don't know, his spirit energy into the sword. And the Minotaur decides to like toss his axe aside, gets down real low, and then like gets ready to charge. They wait a second and zoom, they both charge at each other, bro. And then they clash in the middle, and then they're just, you know, there clashing for a good like 3 seconds. But then the Minotaur goes whoom, and then he launches Bell for like the 5th time. He launches Bell into the air, bro. And like you see this little cool shot, Bell's there, and they're like he's he's absolutely pissed. The sword actually shatters, it breaks, bro. The Minotaur does the most. I've not seen something this disrespectful in a while, bro. He waits, first of all he cries out like he knows he's already won, waits for Bell to land, runs, boom, clips him. As he's punched him, he's charging through with Bell still on his fist. He charges and then boom, breaks into the first wall of the dungeon, jumps, boom, breaks through the ground of the dungeon. And then at this point they're free falling. Bell is still wrapped up in this Minotaur's fist, and then the Minotaur launches him, bro. He goes whoosh. Minotaur launches him, and then Bell just like, in the most clean, crisp animation that I've ever seen, he just like free falls and then bam, slaps into the ground, bro. It was crazy. I'm thinking, rah. First time I saw that, I was like, rah, he might be dead, bro. Bell, he's there coughing out blood. He just sees the Minotaur standing over him. The Minotaur's like, now we're even. The next time we meet, that'll be our final match. And then he just dips, bro. He just dips back into the dungeon. Bell's there like, god damn it, bro, I failed. You know, he beats himself up. Bell's like a perfectionist, you know, like he's always trying to hit bigger strides. And yeah, bro, the match ends. At this point, Bell like regained his manhood though, because in the eyes of the public, he fended off this monster from everyone, risked his life, all that stuff, and so he's loved again. All the monsters go back into like the dungeon, and yeah, it's amazing. All in all, I love that anime, and apparently they have like 2 more seasons. I've only seen up to season 3, and that was like ages ago. I watched this anime when I was like, I want to say 15, 14. So I don't know, I might go ahead and watch the next 2 seasons, but to be honest, I've forgotten a lot of the context behind this anime, so I don't know if I'll ever be asked. Anyways, you know the drill. Subscribe and that. Love. Today's recommended song is Better Alone by L.O.S.E. L.O.S.E has an insane catalogue of music, but I feel like people don't talk about this song enough, so go listen to it. Peace.